Hey guys, welcome back to Phil Plays TCG. Today we're taking a break from the gameplay videos to talk about a very, very popular topic, a very controversial topic, and that is the Tier 0 TOPKU meta that we are currently in. We are stuck in this eternal hellhole, it seems. TOPKU is everywhere. It's performing incredibly well, and for those who are saying it's not a Tier 0 deck, I'm sorry, but the facts are it is a Tier 0 deck. It is ridiculously good. So today we're going to do a brief updated tier list, but this time we're only going to be talking about the decks that, like, how good the decks are into the TOPKU meta as a whole. And of course today I am joined by my brother, my eternal training partner, Michael. So I'm very happy you're taking a brief break from daddy duty to hop on this video, and yeah, let's talk about some TOPKU.
Yeah.
Oh man, alright, so brief summary, what do you think about the TOPKU meta currently?
Yeah, I mean, it's Tier 0. All the numbers of the tops, 16 top cuts, whatever, throughout the world basically thus far in set 2 tells us that it is a TOPKU meta, because, you know, anywhere from 66 to 75% of some of these charts are TOPKU, with some Beerus sprinkled in, just because he plays the same cards but plays a little bit of a different game. Still very good deck. And then you get a couple blues like Vegeta, Trunks, Zamasu maybe. You really aren't seeing any green or yellow in any of the top cuts, because that is the type of gatekeeping that TOPKU is doing specifically. Red still has good matchups into those colors, but like it's taken to another level when you play TOPKU into yellow and green. It's not a fun meta, of course. You want these pie charts to be much more diverse. I don't know if that's just so much harder to do, be it like a 2-set meta so far. But no matter what, that's what we're all striving for. So until that happens, people are going to start claiming that, you know, things need to happen specifically to TOPKU, whether that's the leader ability, whether that's some of the cards that TOPKU uses. Something is going to need to be done for people to stop shouting from the rooftops that it's Tier 0 and it sucks and something needs to be done. So we'll see. But right now, we're just going to talk about what life is right now in the meta. And that's just, you know, what these other decks look like when you play into a Tier 0 meta.
Exactly, and it's unfortunate. I have so many friends that were excited to play Dragon Ball. They, you know, didn't play too much in set 1. They got really excited for set 2 because of the additional leaders that they provided, and they have all dropped out, unfortunately. A lot of them have quit the game because they don't want to play TOPKU continuously on the client or on, in actual regionals. So it is really unfortunate. People are leaving this game because the meta sucks, and like, hell, Eggman just said he's done with Fusion World until they address the TOPKU meta, and that's huge for a big content creator like Eggman to just drop a game. Yeah, that's not good. So let us briefly go over some options here, just making sure everything is still good on that, because we have some technical difficulties the other day. First of all, tier list. TOPKU tier. Number 1, he is the best deck in the format. Number 2 is can fight against TOPKU. These are decks that can put up a fight against TOPKU, but unfortunately, you're still looking at a 40-60 win rate, or at best a 50-50 win rate. These decks take a lot of skill to pilot, but unfortunately, they just... TOPKU's TOPKU, but these decks can at least put up a good fight. Next we have would be good if not for TOPKU. These are decks that are literally being gatekept because TOPKU is most of the meta right now. These would be much better decks and would do much better if not for TOPKU. Next we have locals, which is just, you know, the deck's going to do fine at locals unless you have a lot of TOPKU, then you're just kind of boned either way. And finally, help us tier. These are decks that need serious support, and I'm just going to go ahead and, you know, just not waste any time with it and throw these two. Cooler and Ginyu, unfortunately, got no support in set 2, and the little support they did, maybe like 1 card each, is bad. So, unfortunately, they're just not good. And it's unfortunate, because you love Cooler.
I do love Cooler. It got nothing in terms of like pushing the deck into what it wants to do. It got the 1-drop Cooler, which does nothing because it has to survive to a point where you can tap 3 and play the Cooler SR sooner. But again, we're in a red meta that is going to obliterate it before you could even basically on a turn cycle, like it's just so bad. So yeah, both of those are going to stay and help us.
All right, next, let's go into decks that would be good if not for TOPKU. I just think this is a pretty easy one. Most green, I think, is going to be would be good if not for TOPKU. Like, let's put Cell, Gohan, Broly. I
would essentially put all the green decks in that one.
You know what's crazy is I'm gonna put these three in this category. I'm putting androids in can fight TOPKU. Now, hear me out on this. Hear me out on this. So, like you said, like green, pretty much all green would be good if not for TOPKU. Green got some pretty decent support, mainly for Cell and androids, but as a whole, green is still a dangerous color. But I think in most cases, blue and yellow got some really cool tech tools in order to play against green. But because red is so rampant, green players don't really exist in the meta right now, except for those that are like dead set on proving that green's still good. Now, the reason why androids is not in this tier, I think Cell actually should go in this tier here, but step up there, maybe a little bit there. Androids is surprisingly good into TOPKU because of the insane ramping of androids is on a whole other level now. Combine it with the Dr. Joe's Lab and the new 4-cost androids card we got that allows them to basically pay 4, trash 2 energy, and then play 3 energy from your discard pile in active mode. Allows you to, I've seen on some plays, like being able to ramp 2 to 3 energy a turn with using these cards, which is insane. Not only that, then you can just drop on a Cell and go back down to 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever you're at for energy, and then just, recover a life, KO 2 bodies. It's surprisingly good into TOPKU, but you have to be incredibly defensive early on. And then once you can stabilize, it's actually kind of scary. This deck actually won our locals yesterday, and it was able to beat TOPKU and Beerus, who was at our locals. So I'll vouch for it. It's actually got a bit of skin in the game, but it does still come down to being a very skilled player. And if green bricks, which green can do, it can still obviously lose a TOPKU. But what do you think?
Yeah, this is interesting because I don't necessarily agree, just because I've seen androids falter hard as hell to red decks. I get what you're saying. I think doing Giroux's Lab is like not a good play against TOPKU at all. You're just wasting a turn. You're not clearing board, and you're not doing anything to help turn the tides. If you're able to go, I guess, second, and you see it on curve and you draw the right stuff and TOPKU doesn't necessarily pop off exactly on curve, I get the idea that you can stabilize from there. I should say, like, Beerus literally sleepwalks through androids. If they open up at all with a crit Caulifla, it's a really bad time. Against TOPKU, I haven't necessarily seen the matchup favor for androids. I'm not going to discount what you've seen in your experience at all. I just don't necessarily see it right now because droids cannot fight on board without the 2-cost Trunks. Otherwise, TOPKU does get to build a board, gets to self-awaken, gets to do all that stuff. I just don't know how droids does anything. Even if droids ramps a couple times with its new 4-cost dual name, like, who cares? Because it's 20k, you'll swing into their board, and TOPKU will much rather give you a card or two to retain their board and crack back better against androids who can't necessarily crack back again without not getting off of their curve specifically, right? Like, they're playing some other stuff to try to board fight, or else they're just going to get overwhelmed.
Right.
I don't necessarily see it. Again, experiences is one thing. Maybe I just haven't had those right experiences. But same thing. I don't see I get the Giroux's Lab is the best ramp once it's established, but giving a whole turn to TOPKU just to push your face in while you play one card that doesn't, if you play it on 3 with 3 energy, you're not ramping. You are not clearing board. You're not fighting. You're not doing anything. So it just feels weird. But this is your tier list. You can do whatever you want.
Well, I mean, I want us to agree.
I just don't see how. It's
Like,
just I just think it's green is what it is.
I agree. Like, okay, you know, maybe it does take a good pilot, and it does take seeing exactly what you need to see. Similar to Cell, these two decks actually run a whole lot of the same cards right now. On top of like the 6-drop double striker that KOs 2-3 costs or less. You have a lot of people running like life ramp with the 6-drop Gohan and the Cell. You have incredible defense cards like Gigantic Meteor and Earth Destroying Kamehameha, which is like I said, this is real close. This is real close. I do think this deck has potential, and it does. I've seen it win against TOPKU, but it does take, you know, certain things to happen. But I think green as a whole, is just people say, oh, if you nerf TOPKU, if you ban TOPKU, or make red not the best color, then green's gonna be the best color in the game. I do believe that every other color seemingly got like a lot of great support to counter green, or at least to help it in the matchup against green, but it's just red is way too oppressive for there to be any type of real meaningful green presence in the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just about how fast it can go, because the whole point is you got to go fast enough to a degree to stop green or make it uncomfortable before green starts doing green things. But we've seen yellow have good matchups into green sometimes. The other red decks in set one, we saw them have enough tools to make green uncomfortable consistently enough, and then red got new stuff. So if you nerf TOPKU by any means, I still think red, piloted by the right player, going second, etc., can win against green. Green going second, I think, ups their chances, and they can probably stabilize behind like smart play early on. I think it'd be a much healthier meta, again, if TOPKU is nerfed. I think Beerus is still really good, and red will be good, but don't discount everything else. Like, we know Frieza's still pretty good with the new stuff. Blue, good. I think green's still probably favored into blue, but like it's not as a foregone conclusion as it used to be. Either way, I just think green would feel so much better if TOPKU didn't exist. It'd still have to fight an uphill battle, I think, against red a little bit, but it'd still be a much healthier fight. So yeah, I like green all the way there. In terms of other decks that I think would be good.
Tell me. Like, is there anything else in here that you'd say like fits in that category? I'm not too sure. Like, maybe one. Like, to be honest, I could kind of see Goku Black being in that spot because he got so much great support, but the
I agree, but he also loses hard to.
Oh no, sorry. Go on.
Beerus. Possibly, it just like. Non-existent option for you. I think would it be a lot better? Heck yeah, you probably have some high roll stuff and feel good about it. But you know Goku Black better than me. If you feel comfortable putting
I think
other ones would be good.
Like, see, Goku Black, I know Eggman piloted it to top 64 in the recent regional, but like every practice game that I've had with the deck, it just feels like you have to fill the deck with so many Zamasu and Goku Black cards that one, yes, will help its consistency, but the problem is you then can't make room for other good tech cards like the 3-drop Vegito in a lot of cases, or a lot of really just good tech cards in general to deal with other types of decks. You have one goal and one goal only, which is to get a Goku Black 6-drop out as soon as possible, and unfortunately sometimes it just does not happen. You do need to high roll with it, but in a meta where it's a lot less aggressive, you could have more time to build that board and to get to a point where you feel comfortable with Goku Black. And I feel like TOPKU just really doesn't do that. I know it can be done, but I do feel like Goku Black could be in this category here. I think he fits fine. Now, to be honest with you though, I really don't think do you think the other red decks could be in there, like U7 Goku and Starter Goku?
So, I do think U7 is very good. Like, I think if TOPKU was nerfed and there was more flavor choice between red, like I think you could put U7 and Starter in would be good enough for TOPKU, because just the simple fact that if TOPKU didn't exist, those decks would still be very strong alongside Beerus. Obviously the deck styles are different. But yeah, I think it's fine that those are in there. Like if you don't think they fight at a top coup, and they're definitely better than local, like just mess around at locals type decks, because U7 got some serious gas, and starter coup is still red. Like those are going to be good. I think that's a perfect choice for there. Beerus, yes, for sure can fight top coup.
Arguably, a lot of people say the second best deck in the game right now.
Love Beerus. I think that works out well there. I think I would do the blue decks into can fight top coup.
Oh yeah, I mean, let's just pop.
I would just go ahead and throw them all in there. Throw Trunks, Zamasu, like good pilots. They're still big brain decks, but they can fight. They can win. It doesn't mean consistently, but like they can, given certain situations and extraneous variables and stuff like that.
Their biggest problem, though, just honestly, is they have to rely so heavily on skills that always require them to be at 7 or less cards at hand, which I think is such a stupid requirement to hold an entire color down, because let's just take TOPKU, for example. All the crazy things it can do. It doesn't have an energy requirement. It doesn't have a life requirement. It doesn't have a card in hand requirement. It just, this card just lets you play this for free and do all that. And
yeah, I agree. It's weird for them to be, yeah.
It just doesn't make sense that blue as a whole just is limited by this one thing. Like, maybe if it was just Vegeta, like, sure, whatever, fine. Like, Vegeta, to get that 15k boost, he has to be under 7 cards or less in hand. That's fine. But for all these other cards that to use their abilities, you have to be at 7 or less in hand, which is real scary against against TOPKU. But for the most part, I think, yeah, any of these blue decks here can do really, really well. My problem with Zamasu, and what I love Zamasu, don't get me wrong, this deck is so much fun. The issue is that his ability is absolute, like, BS against TOPKU, solely because TOPKU wants to get you down to 2 life as soon as possible so he can then Ribrianne glimpse you or Ribrianne double glimpse you. And Zamasu's ability doesn't work unless you're at 2 life. Mm-hmm. So to use his ability, which is how people say, oh, he can draw, you just have to, heal yourself and you technically get a draw. But it's just like, I don't want to put myself to 2 to possibly get one-shotted by TOPKU. I really think this weird requirement that you had to be at 2 or less life is really stupid for that ability. It needed to just be, like, if you're at 3 or less. I think 3 or less would have been perfectly fine. The leader doesn't draw on its backside, so you're constantly relying on the 4-drop Zamasu for draw or your peel-off recycling. I think that would have been perfectly fine for it to be just a, 3 or less, you can heal yourself, but you can't go over 4. Now, Trunks is really, really good because it can bounce constant, a lot of threats on TOPKU's board, because you have, a lot of cards in TOPKU are 3 cost. Combine that with the 3-drop Vegito SR, everything on your opponent's board now becomes 1 cost less, so it can hit pretty much anything TOPKU plays. The problem is, a lot of things TOPKU plays have on-play ability, so you're just giving them the on-play ability again. So, once again, not a great thing, but you still can disrupt their tempo, which is very, very good. So yes, blue in general, very good into TOPKU. Unfortunately, it's still like a 40-60, at most like 50-50 chance, but it just takes a good pilot, and sometimes you just gotta hope that TOPKU doesn't see what they need to see so early. But Beerus in general, yeah, really, really good. It's got the best removal in the game, being able to minus things, which there's certain cards in TOPKU that can only be KO'd, cannot be KO'd by skill, so minusing them is the only way to do it. And Beerus can do that very easily. Next, we got 2 leaders left, and here's my hot take here. I'm putting Vegeta in locals and Frieza in can fight TOPKU. Now, reason why. I'll start with Vegeta here. I think Vegeta's ability is super cool. The problem is there's not a lot of things to abuse that ability. You just essentially restand 2 and then be like, cool, now I can use extra cards to buff up my leader defensively, or maybe I can use abilities on cards that cost an energy. But beyond that, I mean, that's kind of it. With Frieza, on the other hand, his ability to restand 2 of your battle cards, 1, protects them from your opponent being able to swing into them, and 2, it allows you to swing with your blockers and then restand your blockers. Sure, red can just KO your blockers through minusing, but like it's just, I don't know, like when it comes to these two leaders, I don't really see Vegeta doing much besides at a local level, because there's really no cards that can abuse its leader ability. And Frieza just has a lot of... Frieza is just a great generic yellow leader, and it has access... Both of these decks have access to a lot of really good yellow cards that we got support for. And I have seen Frieza actually put in some work into TOPKU on the sim and in real life with our team here. So yeah, that's my defense of why these two go in these two places. But what do you think?
No, I absolutely agree with them. I think they're in. I would put Vegeta up in Would Be Good If Not for TOPKU, because I just think it's actually a pretty good deck when piloted correctly. It does do a lot of the same yellow stuff. It's just that the way it's played, it uses its cards defensively, and against TOPKU, it means it's hemorrhaging cards out of hand to stay alive, while Frieza, I think, just plays a little bit of a different game, keeping its battle cards up. And if TOPKU can't minus them, then they're used defensively, potentially as combo power and stuff like that. I think it just plays a little bit of a different game that's more efficient in this meta overall. So I like the positioning on these two as it stands. I think, locals is just such a weird thing where some of these decks in Would Be Good would go there now, but also they make sense in Would Be Good If Not for TOPKU. So I think this is just fine. Locals and Would Be Good are kind of similar, but overall I kind of like where this stands. And this is actually pretty good timing for the video because my daughter is waking up. So
oh, no.
Those are all our pretty good opinions. PJ, I'm going to let you finish this up, guys. I appreciate you listening to the video.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go take care of daddy duty, and your host here will finish the job.
I appreciate you. Tell her I love her.
You got it.
All right, later. But yes, guys, this is the updated list that we based. Like I said, I hope we gave you some good explanations of why everything is here. I don't, like I said, I think Vegeta. Oh, that's the wrong screen I'm on. I believe that Vegeta could go into locals, but he made a good point. A lot of decks that would be good at the local level are in the same category. So maybe this is just kind of like the same. Let's you know what? Let's just get rid of a row. There we go. There we go. So here we go, guys. This is our tier list when it comes to the best decks in the format, up against the TOPKU matchup. And we say this out of a place of we want this game to succeed. Right now, this game seemingly has everything going against it. Low product amounts, very few locals, and a lot of locals being disintegrated and just kind of disappearing because there's no product. People aren't happy with the meta because of one leader taking up most of the top cut. Now, I get it. People are going to say, stop complaining, stop bitching, just figure out the meta. Unfortunately, it is not that simple. There is something arguably wrong with the way your game is designed or with a particular deck archetype if all the top players and all the professional, quote unquote professional players are talking about how, oh, we tested for hours and hours and we came to the conclusion that it is better to play the deck than it is to find a way around it. Because like I said, these decks up here can fight TOPKU. These have good matchups into it, or at least good strategies into TOPKU, but unfortunately, you have to play perfectly. You have to see everything you need to see. You need to play. You cannot make a single mistake. You play and make a mistake, you are just asking for TOPKU to, hit you on the crackback, and it is rough. TOPKU being able to play seven energy worth of cards for 1 energy is not good. The discard doesn't mean anything because Kefla just just gets you that card back, so you're really not losing out on much. Sure, your hand size is going to get lower, but guess what? Your board just got bigger. So, I don't know. I think TOPKU was a mistake and needs to be addressed, and this is going to hurt the game overall if this is not getting taken care of. People are leaving the game right now because of, like I said, low product quality, no locals, very few big events, and the fact that the meta right now is just one deck, and then Beerus, which essentially is just running the same cards. So let's hope that Bandai does the right thing. I know it's crazy to think about. Let's hope they do the right thing and fix this meta We need a nerf on TOPKU, whether it's nerfing the leader ability, eroding Kefla, banning or limiting Ribrianne, Glimpse, just something. Something needs to get done, because I would love to see all these leaders shine, and a lot of these leaders, as you see here, would be good if not for TOPKU tier. All of these leaders can do really cool things, it's just TOPKU is holding them back. And I would love to see what the meta would look like without a incredibly oppressive TOPKU. I'm not saying ban it, but it definitely needs to get a little nerfed so other decks can see the light of day as well. But thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I really, really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. We are on our way to 2,000 subs, and we are getting there closer every single day. I really do appreciate that. And until the next video, take care.